With us now to talk more about it, Adam Van Couverden is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Environment Minister. He's with us from Parliament Hill, and next to me here in studio, Deputy Conservative Leader Melissa Lantsman. Hi to both of you. Thank you so much for making the time for the conversation. Mr. Van Couverden, I'll start with you. This report really clearly lays out that your government's climate plan will not achieve the targets that you set out for 2030. What do you say to Canadians who are watching tonight who believed your promise that that plan would work?
Well, I think what the report dictates is that we need to move faster. We are on the right path. We're going in the right direction, but we need to move faster. And that's why it's so disappointing that every day, day after day, in the House of Commons, we have Conservatives telling us to stop and slow down. We have the architecture in place. We've got everything that we need to continue advancing our emissions reductions plan. And every single day, the Conservatives are there to say, no, you're doing too much. You've got to slow down. Just take the floor right out of the emissions reductions plan and carbon pricing altogether. It's so important that we continue on this path. What the report did say actually today is that we are 6% lower in terms of our emissions since 2005. The Conservatives will say you've never met a target. Well, we haven't had a target yet. 2030 is the first date where we will have a target. We haven't missed one, and we are on the right path. We just need to, keep pushing forward and keep moving forward as quickly as possible. It's tough when day after day in the House of Commons we've got the Conservatives saying that climate change isn't real and we should just stop.
Well, actually, just to sort of back up on that, what the Commissioner says today is that your plan does not get to the targets that you set out. You said you're on the right path. He says you're not actually on the right path. And he's very specific. When you talk about the Conservatives blunting, for example, all the various aspects of your plan, how do you know, how can you assure Canadians of what those various parts will actually accomplish when the Commissioner himself said less than half of the measures in the plan have an implementation deadline? Your plan doesn't include a target or expected emission reduction for 95% of its measures, and federal government organizations expect only 43% of the measures to have some direct impact on emissions. Like, there's so much opaqueness, and that's what the Commissioner laid out today. How are you able to be so certain that what's in that plan that you're accusing the Conservatives of blunting will actually achieve what you're saying it will?
What I'm saying is exactly what the Commissioner is saying. We need to continue to do more and more to fight climate change and reduce our emissions. And what I'm indicating is that the Conservatives keep saying we ought to do a lot less. And it would be great that if in the House of Commons we could debate how we're going to fight climate change, not if we are going to fight climate change. And that's been the state of the conversation over the last couple of years,
so it's the
particularly with Pierre Poilievre as the leader.
Working?
Absolutely
so
not.
With respect,
and it's not that we're on.
But that's what it sounds like.
What I'm saying is that it's disappointing that in the House of Commons, day after day, we have to defend the very basic aspects of how we fight climate change in Canada because the Conservatives want to stop altogether. And it's not a question of how we fight climate change with them, it's if. We do need to do more, and we absolutely need to push forward and lower our emissions faster in Canada. That's why we've done things like a quicker phase-out of home heating oil, which is the dirtiest and most expensive and most emissions-intensive way to heat one's home. We're pushing forward with an emissions cap for the oil and gas sector, while the Conservatives are so clearly here to advocate for big oil and not for Canadians and not for a future with lower emissions and free of climate change altogether. So it is a challenge here in this House, and to meet the moment with Canadians and make sure that we're driving home the message that climate change is real. It's the issue of our time. It's an emergency, and we need to continue to lower our emissions.
Ms. Lantsman, look, it doesn't take away from the questions for the government, but has your party's lack of specifics on what targets you're going to aim for, what measures you'll use to get there, has that provided the government with an opening to say that you're dragging the debate down, essentially, and preventing them from meeting the targets?
Well, this government has been here for 8 years, so I find it a bit rich for my colleague to say that it is our fault that they are not meeting a single target that they themselves have set. The Environment Commissioner just delivered a scathing report, and for 8 years they have told Canadians they're going to quadruple the carbon tax by the end of this mandate to essentially reach those targets. And the Commissioner himself said at the table that this is not a measure that he sees as one that works. He said that 50% of them don't have a timeline. He didn't say it didn't work. He just said that
Wait, the Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say that carbon tax would work. The Commissioner did not say carbon pricing does not work.
Mr.
That's
Van
not something
Couverden,
that could...
Mr. Van Couverden, let's let Ms. Lansman speak, okay? Because we let you speak.
The commissioner rightfully said that there are many ways to get there. What Conservatives are saying that the carbon tax is not one of them that on Canadians that is working to reach a single target. Mr. Van Couverden knows very well that his government hasn't reached targets, and now we've heard it again from the Environment Commissioner today on the day that he's accusing the opposition of not having a
Just
plan.
to clarify, though, what the commissioner said about the carbon tax was that there is no stated, specific in the plan of by how much it's going to reduce emissions. He didn't say it's never going to work, it doesn't work. And just to follow up, is it not incumbent, if you want to be a credible voice as a party on the climate policy that the government is pursuing, is it not incumbent on you to provide what you would do differently in advance of the next campaign?
We absolutely have talked about technology and not the tax plan that the government has had. Well, we can talk about the tidal energy project that the government chased out of this country, chased the proponents out of this country where they no longer want to do it. We can talk about hydroelectricity in Quebec. We can talk about mining lithium for all of those batteries that we need to power our future. We can talk about taking those regs off and giving more certainty on nuclear, and we will do that in the next election. But today we have an environment commissioner that basically trounced the Liberals on not meeting a single environmental target on what is the central component of their entire existence. They say they're the party of climate action, and Canadians today and every single day know that their plan isn't working, and a consumer carbon tax is one of those things that doesn't work. In fact, it punishes Canadians, and they themselves admitted it over the last few days.
Mr.